Hello and good morning everyone. My name is Chiara Porro and I'm the Australian Ambassador to the Holy See. I'm very happy to connect with you all today through this video message which allows us to beat the distance and the time difference between Rome and Melbourne. I want to begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people, the traditional custodians of the land on which this conference takes place today, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to all First Nations people in attendance today. I'd like to pay tribute to the Australian Catholic Migrant and Refugee Office for putting together the 7th annual conference. I want to commend their hard work and dedication and their commitment to raising awareness of the issues faced by seasonal and migrant workers. In particular, I want to thank Father Khalid Marogi and Don Gomez for making today's event possible and for inviting me to take part in this important discussion. Today, I want to tell you about how the plight of migrants fits into the work we do as an embassy. I also want to highlight how we've teamed with Australian human rights-based and faith-based organisations to shed light, in particular, on the issue of women migrant workers. At the Vatican, the discussion on migrant workers is significantly shaped by the crisis along Europe's southern border. Last year, 3,100 migrants lost their life while crossing from North Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. So far this year, the number is 880, and the summer season, statistically the busiest, has only just begun. Pope Francis has been highly vocal about the unacceptable number of deaths on the Mediterranean. In September 2023, on the occasion of the World Day of Migrants and Refugees, he travelled to the French city of Marseille to deliver a strong rebuke of what he described as the fanaticism of indifference. In a highly symbolic moment, the Pope also prayed alongside other religious leaders near the city's memorial dedicated to sailors and migrants lost at sea. The Pope has also been outspoken about marginalisation and the ill treatment of migrants. He has repeatedly reminded us of the dignity of all human life and urged us to take action to prevent exploitation and enslavement. Again and again, Pope Francis has called on us to look for the slaves of today, those that are disguised, those that are not known, those that are hidden. In this vein, I was privileged to partner with Australia's human rights group, Walk Free, during a high-level event at the Vatican in November 2023, which saw the unveiling of their latest global estimates of modern slavery report, a comprehensive measurement of the prevalence of modern slavery around the world. The event, held in the prestigious Pontifical Academy of Sciences, saw faith and science leaders come together to express their strong resolve to eradicate all forms of modern slavery. It also provided an opportunity to arrange a meeting between Pope Francis and survivors of modern slavery. The Global Estimates of Modern Slavery report, published by Walk Free, shows that an estimated 50 million people are living in situations of modern slavery on any given day in 2021. The most vulnerable, women, children, and migrants, remain disproportionately affected. More than 12 million of all people in modern slavery are children, and girls account for over half of them, 54%. In that context, on the 25th of November 2023, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, I was proud to join the Executive Officer of ACMRO, Christine Carolan, who I understand is joining you today, to launch the campaign for the 16 Days of Activism, which centered on the plight of women migrant workers. Women migrant workers are susceptible to many forms of gender-based violence, including forced labor, exploitation, and sex trafficking. Because they often find themselves in host countries with few or no legal protections, they have a limited access to justice and support services. And although they play a considerable role in our economy and our supply chains, they are often invisible in society. In partnership with ACMRO, we were able to amplify voices that describe the difficulties which female migrant workers face. We heard about appalling forms of violence, about women in precarious labour conditions, about women earning low wages while also having to cope with their roles as mothers and breadwinners. We heard about migrant women feeling despair and loneliness. The reasons for teaming up with ACMRO on this awareness campaign were clear. We know that faith-based organisations can be strong allies in supporting vulnerable women. The leadership and interpersonal relationships of grassroots faith-based workers represents an enormous resource. Not only can they lend a voice to the millions of women who are struggling to express themselves, they are also directly providing assistance in host countries, helping them with shelter and housing, access to healthcare, and importantly, empowering them through education and employment opportunities so that they can reach their full potential. In the past year, we've also engaged on discussions about some of the key drivers which are putting women in situation of increased risk. In May of this year, I took part in the Talitha Cum General Assembly, which also coincided with their 15th anniversary as an umbrella network for women religious working against modern slavery. I had the opportunity to talk about gender equality as an important tool to build more resilient communities that are better equipped to combat poverty, marginalisation, conflict, and organised crime. I described how Australia recognised this by setting a target for 80% of all development investments to address gender equality, effectively including a new requirement for new investments of more than $3 million to necessarily feature gender equality objectives. Another issue pushing women into at-risk situations is climate change. Its devastating effects are literally driving women to flee their homes and inevitably place themselves in a situation of vulnerability. Last month, we hosted an event on ecology in the Pacific, and we discussed Australia's efforts to work ever more closely with our neighbours in the Pacific region, which is bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. We were able to showcase how Australia is delivering on its commitments, including through new forms of partnership with Pacific Island nations, such as the recently signed Falipili Union with Tuvalu, which, as many of you will know, features a special mobility pathway for Tuvaluans to come to Australia to live, work, study, and safeguard their future. I'm pleased to say that the Vatican has recognised how this initiative closely aligns with the spirit of Pope Francis's message, that is, that we should all recognise the rising human costs of the climate crisis. I hope I've been able to describe, albeit in broad terms, how the issues being discussed at today's conference are reverberating in the work that we conduct here at the Vatican. I look forward to hearing about the outcomes of the debates and the sessions ahead, and I wish you all a very fruitful conference. Thank you.